What would you do if the person you love looked you in the eye and said, "Do as I say with your money, or get lost"? That's not a question. That's a command. That's the moment I realized I wasn't in a relationship anymore. I was in a battle for control. My name is Liam, I'm 32, and this is the story of the night I smiled, packed my girlfriend's bags, and closed the door on her demands forever. When I first met Gemma, I'll admit, I was captivated. She was 29, witty, magnetic, and had this way of making the room brighter just by walking in. Our first year together felt like living inside a romance movie. Weekend trips, nights of endless laughter, mornings where we didn't want to get out of bed. But what I didn't notice at first was how quickly passion can morph into possession. It started small, a joke about how I spent too much on gadgets, a raised eyebrow when I ordered a takeaway instead of cooking. Then little by little, the jokes stopped sounding funny. Her suggestions turned into expectations. Her expectations hardened into demands. And somewhere along the way, what used to be us became about her and what I could provide. 8 months ago, Gemma moved into my flat. We had a clear arrangement. I'd cover the mortgage and major expenses. She'd handle groceries and utilities. It felt fair, balanced. But within weeks, the excuses began. The utility bill was too high. Groceries became too much responsibility. And soon I was not only paying the mortgage, I was covering her tastes, her upgrades, her whims. Don't get me wrong, I didn't mind treating her occasionally. I wanted to. But when every dinner out, every new bag, every trip became an expectation instead of a surprise, I realized I was slowly being drained, not just financially, but emotionally. The breaking point came last Friday. I just received a decent work bonus. Nothing life-changing, but enough to make me proud. Enough to think about finally replacing my old telly or putting extra into savings. Over dinner, I casually mentioned it. I thought she'd smile, maybe even be happy for me. Her eyes lit up, but not with pride, more like calculation. "Oh, perfect. We absolutely have to book that spa weekend Nicola told me about. And I saw the most gorgeous necklace online. You'll love it on me." I laughed gently, thinking she was joking. But she wasn't. I suggested saving most of it, maybe using a little for something practical. That's when her whole face changed. "Practical? Are you serious? You get a bonus and your first thought isn't treating me? What's wrong with you?" I stayed calm. "Gemma, it's my bonus. I want us to do something nice, but I also want to be smart with it." That single sentence was like throwing petrol on fire. She exploded. She called me selfish, ungrateful, unloving. She told me if I really cared, I'd want her to have nice things. She compared me to my colleagues' partners, who apparently were showering their girlfriends with gifts. And then, with her voice raised so loud it rattled the walls, she shouted the words that burned themselves into my memory. "You'll do as I say with your money, or I'll get lost. You choose." And that was the moment everything became clear. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about love. It was about control. This wasn't a partnership anymore. It was a power struggle. And I realized I'd already lost too much of myself to it. So I smiled. Not out of joy, not out of mockery, but out of clarity. And I said very quietly, "All right." For a moment, she looked triumphant. She thought I'd surrendered. But then I walked into the bedroom, pulled out her suitcases and began to pack. Clothes, shoes, toiletries. Folded some neatly, shoved others in without care. Her makeup, her cushions, her chargers, her handbags. She followed me, stunned at first, then shrieking, "What are you doing? You can't do this. Are you insane?" She hurled insults, threatened me, tried to grab things back from my hands. I didn't answer. I just zipped one suitcase, then another. Found bin bags for the overflow. 20 minutes later, everything that was hers sat by the door. She stood there trembling with rage and disbelief as I opened the door. I picked up the first suitcase and tossed it onto the lawn. Then the second. Then the bags. Her mouth fell open. She looked at me as though she didn't recognize me anymore. And I said calmly, "You told me to do as you say, or get lost." "I'm not doing as you say, so get lost." Then I closed the door. Locked it, slid the chain across. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from adrenaline, from the weight of finally breaking free. I leaned my forehead against the wood and just breathed. Outside, she screamed, pounded on the door, cursed me. But eventually the noise faded. When I checked the peephole, I saw her loading her things into her car. And then, silence. That was Friday night. For 3 days, nothing. No texts, no calls, until Tuesday afternoon. My phone rang with an unknown number. For a moment, I almost ignored it. But something told me to pick up. Liam! Liam! It was a woman's voice. Shaky, emotional. It's Margaret. Gemma's mom. I froze. She was crying. She said Gemma was staying with her, refusing to eat, barely speaking. She begged me to reconsider, to talk to her, to forgive her. And in that moment, my heart ached, not for Gemma, but for her mother, for the pain she felt watching her daughter fall apart. I spoke softly. Margaret, I'm so sorry she's hurting, but this wasn't about one fight. It's about respect. And I can't build a life with someone who thinks love is measured in money. There was silence on the line, then a quiet sob. And finally, I understand. When the call ended, I sat there, staring at the wall, realizing something important. Walking away wasn't just about saving my bank account. It was about saving myself. And that's what I want to leave you with. Relationships should never feel like ultimatums. True love doesn't demand you hand over your freedom, your dignity, or your self-worth. If someone forces you to choose between respecting yourself and keeping them, understand this. The right choice is always yourself, because the moment you choose yourself, you stop being a prisoner. You start being free. So if you're watching this and you're in a relationship, a friendship, or even a family situation where you feel controlled, manipulated, or drained, hear me clearly. You are worth more than their demands. And when someone shouts, "Do as I say or get lost," don't tremble, don't beg, don't shrink. Smile and tell them, "All right," then get lost. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. And sometimes clarity is the most powerful gift you can ever give yourself.